Coaches, don't put your players in that situation. Coach Clay here. I'm here to talk to parents and also to coaches who, with what I'm talking about today, are really the problem. I've run into players who have come to my facility to work out, to train, to get better, who have one day walked in and informed me that they would have to take a break from coming in for their weekly or bi-weekly training. And that break was being prompted by their coach forbidding outside instruction of any kind. If we think about why this is happening, we can sort of sympathize. You have a coach trying to build a team, instill some of the fundamentals that that coach believes in. And whatever the fundamental is, if they go to put a player into a drill to reinforce that fundamental that they feel is vital for success, and that player looks at them and says, no, that's wrong. My hitting coach says this, or my pitching coach says this. It can be extremely frustrating. Coaches are the head of the team, and in the end, their way is the highway. But when it comes to a coach forbidding outside training, it is a snap response that is fueled by frustration, lack of time, and often probably insecurity, right? But let's look at the problems with giving that directive to a team, forbidding outside instruction. If my son's on that team and he comes home, is he allowed to work with me, right? Very successful Division I college hitter and went on to play professionally for 6 years. Is he not able to talk to me about his swing? Are we not able to go to the cage and work together? Because then he would be violating the coach's rule of getting outside instruction. So you can see how silly that is. The coach would want my son getting extra swings, doing extra work, and especially with somebody like me that has a history in the game and a history of working with players. Now, you can work with your parents. Okay, that's cool. Well, what if my son's cousin or uncle has a hitting facility, right? Has the hit tracker, whatever. He wants to go over there, spend some extra time outside of practice, right? Getting better, taking cuts, trying to get better, trying to analyze his swing. And again, in front of guys that have had success. So I've had players that have trained at other facilities and for one reason or another need to come into my facility to get some work in. And maybe they're getting work in at my facility not because they don't like the other coach they were working with, but maybe that coach is indisposed or his scheduling's gotten tight or he's out of town for a few weeks. Either way, that player wants to get work in and is coming to me and oftentimes has been focusing on some different fundamentals than I would ultimately focus on. And sometimes the terminology that another instructor uses is not really the terminology that's my favorite. But I realize that the instructor they're going to has some experience instructing if they have a place and they have a clientele. I probably know the player and they were probably a good hitter in their own right, played some college ball, maybe some pro ball. So I can work with that player, understand where they're at, tell them what I think's most important, right? Have them work a little bit in the way I work. And if they want to run with it, great. If they stay with me and do a few more sessions, great. If they immediately go back to their old instructor and say, I didn't like the way he ran things, great. So let's put that school coach into the position that I was in, dealing with a player that's coming from another instructor with a whole set of new vocabulary that they're not familiar with, maybe some focus that they're not jiving. Well, it's a real simple solution. The coach can give out the drill, right? And instruct the players to do their best, okay? If there's a player that doesn't want to do that drill, well, ultimately, he's going to succeed or fail on the field, and his career is his career. So I think as a coach, we definitely can be frustrated if we're getting a little pushback or we're not getting 100% effort in a certain drill with a certain focus that we're trying to maintain. But I think when you forbid outside instruction, that those reps that player is going to be missing is going to harm that player's growth more than the drill that he's not 100% invested in or doesn't believe in that you're trying to provide. Now, as a parent, what to do? You've been taking your kid to a hitting facility for a couple years, maybe for a weekly, bi-weekly lesson, maybe during the season, maybe anytime the player slumps, get him in for a couple sessions, try to straighten him out. However your relationship is with your professional hitting coach or your own personal hitting coach, whether it's a former pro or whether it's your cousin that, played at the college down the road. When you go into your team's practices, let's give our kids the heads up that the coach is in charge. Shut your mouth, go about your business, right? If the coach asks you to stand on one foot and hit with only your top hand, whether you see the benefit of it or not, you can do 20 swings on one foot with one hand, and it's not going to ruin your swing. Our swings are going to be affected by what we do most, right? So a lot of times I like to talk about golf. If players go out and they hack their way around 18 holes of golf, swinging that club 50 to 60 times one week, well, that's not going to have a huge effect on their baseball swing if they're getting 50 to 100 baseball swings a day for the last 3 months, okay? What's going to happen is their golf swing is going to be probably atrocious. They're going to put their right hand and hit a ton of slices, right? So if that coach that you're not on the same page with has you stand on one foot and do top hand swings, it's not going to develop any bad habits doing that, okay? And look, if he asks you to lift the knee higher, lift the knee higher. If he says you're not doing this, you're not doing that, try your best to do this, to do that, okay? And at the end of the day, when you get back to hitting, get back into the rhythms and the reactions and the fundamentals that you've been grinding with your hitting coach to perfect, right? And if you succeed, ultimately your coach is going to revel in that success, and he's going to put you in the field and he's going to put you on the lineup. The coach comes, oh, nobody can get outside instruction. Okay, well, great. Do you feel comfortable pausing the instruction? All right, maybe you go see him on a Sunday or whatever, and maybe he's not giving you instruction so much, he's just giving you reps and throwing to you. That's fine, right? But what the coach is saying is, don't come to me and contradict me when I'm trying to lead a practice or a hitting session, okay? And it's very easy not to do that. Just explain to your players, right, that every coach has different ideas, experience success through focusing on different things, and that when you're hitting and playing with one coach, especially the coach of your school team, do the best you can to produce during his drills, right? To follow his instruction and take it all in and put it into your swing as a whole. It may be stuff that you try and you throw away, and that's fine. It is your career. Coaches, don't put your players in that situation. One of the best coaches I knew won a state title in high school, was able to use his success at the high school level to get a Division I college job. He had the best advice. You've got 20, 24 players, and you have a limited amount of time to work on fielding, strategy, hitting, mindset, team building. If you have players that are seeking outside instruction, that is a good thing. Encourage it. Have them go out, get as many swings on their own as they can. And look, some instructors, some coaches will probably be better than others, but if they're getting reps and they're excited and motivated about getting into the cage to practice their craft, that is the most important thing, and that's going to produce the best players to allow your team to have the most success. And coaches, get rid of this forbidding outside instruction stuff. YouTube, private coaches, they're all great resources, and if somebody's passionate and has a desire to get better, let them seek the work out there, all the work they want. The more reps, the more you hit, the better you get. Hey, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we'll see you down the road.